The HOA Dictator Part 4. The final downfall. The entire room erupted into absolute madness. It sounded like a bomb had just gone off inside the Whispering Pines Community Clubhouse. Total, uncontrolled chaos broke out among the 100 homeowners packed inside. People were gasping, yelling, cursing, and pointing aggressively at the giant projector screen. Margaret's face turned completely pale, like all the blood had suddenly drained from her body. Her hands were shaking so violently she could barely hold her presentation remote. She dropped her microphone and it hit the wooden stage floor with a loud, piercing, high-pitched screech. Many people in the front row had to cover their ears. "That is a lie!" Margaret screamed in absolute, unfiltered panic. "He doctored those photos. He is a criminal hacker. Somebody unplug that machine right now." She ran backward toward the projector and started pulling desperately at the power cords. She ripped the cord out of the wall, but it didn't matter. The image of her hugging her brother-in-law, the fake landscaping owner, was already burned into everyone's memory. She looked at her 3 loyal board members standing nervously near the side of the stage. "Don't just stand there like idiots," she ordered them, her voice cracking. "Confiscate his computer immediately. Grab his laptop right now before he shows anything else." The 3 men hesitated, but they started walking down the center aisle toward me. They puffed out their chests, trying to look intimidating. But they didn't even make it halfway down the aisle. Suddenly, Mr. Henderson, the 80-year-old military veteran she had tortured, stepped right into the middle of the walkway. He stood up completely straight, no longer looking weak or defeated. He raised his heavy, solid wood cane and pointed it directly at the lead board member's chest. "If you take one single step closer to that boy, I will break your legs," the old man growled. His voice was deep and filled with years of military authority. Suddenly, 10 other angry neighbors stood up from their folding chairs. They walked over and formed a solid human wall around me and Sarah. The 3 board members immediately stopped in their tracks. They looked at the furious mob of neighbors, swallowed hard, and slowly backed away. They knew they were completely outnumbered. "I'm not finished," I yelled at the top of my lungs, making sure my voice carried over the screaming crowd. I opened my laptop screen back up and reconnected to the projector. I kept clicking my arrow keys, determined to show them everything. A rapid-fire slideshow of undeniable hard-coded evidence flashed across the big screen again. "Here are the fake invoices for pool repairs that never happened," I shouted. "Here are the secret bank transfers moving your neighborhood dues into her personal offshore savings account. And here is the absolute best part. The final image appeared on the screen, bright and clear. It was a highly detailed, itemized receipt from a luxury travel agency. Here are the receipts from Margaret's 2-week luxury vacation to Hawaii last year." I roared over the crowd. "Look at the screen, everyone. First-class flights for her and her husband, a 5-star beachfront resort in Maui, $1,200 dinners, all paid for directly from the Whispering Pines HOA community bank account. She has stolen over $1.2 million from every single hard-working family in this room." The reaction from the crowd was explosive. People surged forward toward the stage, absolutely furious. Dozens of people pulled out their smartphones and started recording her. Camera flashes were going off everywhere, blinding her. Margaret backed away, hyperventilating heavily. She bumped into the projector screen, her perfect pink designer suit wrinkling against the fabric. Her 3 cronies on the board didn't even try to help her this time. They quietly slipped out the side emergency exit door and ran to their cars to save themselves. Margaret was completely, utterly alone. The ruthless dictator of Whispering Pines had finally fallen. I calmly closed my laptop screen, placed it securely inside my bag, and zipped it up. I walked slowly up to the front of the chaotic room and stood right below the edge of the stage. I looked up at her terrified, tear-stained face. "Oh, by the way, Margaret," I said loudly, looking her right in the eyes. "I didn't just bring these printed documents to the meeting tonight. I also sent this entire digital folder to the Internal Revenue Service, and I sent a copy to the local police department's Financial Crimes Division." Margaret let out a loud, pathetic gasp, clutching her fake diamond necklace. Right on cue, the loud, piercing wail of police sirens echoed in the distance. The sound was getting louder and closer by the second. The flashing red and blue lights illuminated the dark windows of the clubhouse. 2 police cruisers pulled up directly to the front curb, blocking the main entrance. 4 uniformed officers stepped out of their vehicles and walked straight through the double-glass doors. The crowd of angry neighbors immediately parted like the Red Sea to let them through. The lead officer, a tall man with a stern expression, walked right up onto the wooden stage. "Margaret Vance," he asked, looking down at her, "we have a federal warrant for your arrest. You are being charged with multiple counts of grand larceny, wire fraud, and severe embezzlement." Margaret completely lost her mind. Her face turned bright purple with absolute rage and denial. "No, you can't do this to me," she screamed, thrashing her arms around wildly. "I am the president of the Whispering Pine Homeowners Association. I am in charge of this entire neighborhood. Your police cars are parked in a restricted red zone outside. I will have your vehicles towed, and I will personally fine you $500. The lead officer actually let out a short, genuine laugh. "We are the police, ma'am," he said coldly. He firmly grabbed her arms, pulled them behind her back, and slapped cold steel handcuffs onto her wrists. The metallic click of the cuffs was the most satisfying sound I had ever heard. "You have the right to remain silent." The officer read her Miranda rights. "And given what I'm seeing here today, I highly suggest you use it." The entire room erupted in massive, deafening applause. People were cheering, whistling, and hugging each other. Mr. Henderson was clapping so hard I thought his hands would hurt. The officers marched Margaret out of the clubhouse. Her perfect pink suit was ruined, and her makeup was running down her face. She was crying hysterically as they pushed her into the back of the police cruiser. But the beautiful, poetic justice didn't stop there. The very next morning, the police raided the fake landscaping company at the strip mall. They immediately arrested her brother-in-law, Richard. Richard turned out to be an absolute coward. The moment he sat down in the cold interrogation room, he completely flipped on Margaret. He handed the police every single incriminating email, text message, and hidden bank transfer. He proved to the detectives that Margaret was the sole mastermind behind the entire criminal operation. Over the next 6 months, the entire ugly truth came out in federal court. Because she had used the HOA as her own personal piggy bank, the state government immediately stepped in. They officially dissolved the current corrupt board and suspended all community fines. When the federal judge finally read Margaret her sentence, he looked absolutely disgusted with her. He specifically mentioned the video footage of her forcing an elderly military veteran to scrub a driveway in the sweltering heat. He called her a cruel, greedy, and power-hungry narcissist. The judge ordered all of her personal bank accounts to be permanently frozen. Margaret Vance was officially sentenced to 10 years in a federal penitentiary. But the absolute most satisfying karma was yet to come. In order to pay back the stolen funds to the neighborhood, the court ordered all of her physical assets to be liquidated. That included her massive, luxurious corner house. The bank legally foreclosed on her property. 6 months to the day after she tried to steal my house, I stood on my front porch holding a warm cup of coffee. I watched as Margaret's embarrassed husband was forced to pack all of their belongings. He was loading boxes into a cheap, rented moving truck parked in their driveway. They were being forced to move into a tiny, run-down apartment complex on the bad side of town. I remembered how Margaret had threatened to fine me over my moving truck on my very first day. Here, the irony of the situation was absolutely beautiful. A huge, bright yellow bank foreclosure sign was planted right in the middle of her perfectly manicured lawn. The woman who had spent years legally stealing homes from innocent families had just lost her own home. 3 weeks later, my beautiful wife, Sarah, gave birth to a healthy, happy baby girl. We brought our daughter home to our quiet, peaceful house in Whispering Pines. There were no more yellow violation tickets stuffed in our mailbox. Nobody was patrolling the streets at dawn or measuring our grass with a wooden ruler anymore. The neighborhood finally felt like a real community again. We finally had the perfect American dream we had worked so hard for. And a few weeks after that, a new family moved into Margaret's old corner house. They were a young, incredibly friendly couple who owned a golden retriever. The very first thing they did was plant bright, beautiful yellow tulips all around their front porch. I walked over, shook their hands warmly, and welcomed them to the neighborhood. I smiled, breathing in the fresh air, knowing that the HOA dictator was gone forever. Pure, absolute justice was finally served. Thank you all so much for watching this incredible pro-revenge story. If you enjoyed watching this evil Karen lose absolutely everything she loved, please hit that thumbs up button right now. Subscribe to Littel's All and turn on the notification bell for more satisfying Reddit stories. Leave a comment below and tell us what you thought of Mark's brilliant data hacking revenge. See you in the next video.